Well, I had this sitting off to my left here for a while, and I know I mentioned a few days back that I was going to go into it again, spruce it up a little bit. And I was wondering, I set that aside. I thought, no, I'll just forget about it for the time being. We'll get onto a new canvas. And then I was kind of wondering what I should paint on the new canvas. And I thought, well, the idea often when you're plein air painting, or if you do a small panel, is to enlarge it if it turns out well. Or if there's something you like about it, you can put it on a little larger size. Format is slightly different. This is longer, narrower. This is what, 12/16? I don't know what this is. What is this actually? It's an odd size. It's not a standard size. What is it? 6 by 10. And I thought, I think actually this would be a better painting than this is, or a better composition. At least the way it sits right now. And I thought, well, why don't I just paint this on here? Maybe with a knife. So I'm taking this, I'm putting it up out of view. I don't want to aim the camera up towards it because there's a lot of glare on it. And you probably, the way the camera will behave, you won't be able to see any charcoal lines if I show both scenes at once. So what I like about this one, okay, let me bring this back down. What I like about this one is I like this silhouette, the power of the foreground, even though it gets lighter in the foreground actually, but the middle ground or the horizon is very dark, makes for a nice silhouette against the sky, which the sky comes down, kind of leads your eye in towards this little shed, and then makes a hard left-hand turn, and then sort of wanders off the painting down and to the left. And I kind of like that effect. It's an effect I often use for various paintings, especially on something like this, a prairie scene. So let's say we're going just like the small painting, a bit of a rise here. And we're going to take our clouds and do the same idea, give it the same idea. Try to use the clouds to lead in to a shed. This shed's going to be a little different. I'm moving it a little bit to the left. Making it a little bit bigger proportionately. And I know I had a peaked roof of another barn on the right hand side. On this one, so we've shifted this a little to the left. We're going to move this to the other side. We're only really seeing some of the roof parts of these things. And I still kind of like the idea of the power poles in there. But first I'm going to try to emulate, because I kind of like that about the other painting here as well. Emulate the way the foreground comes down. Okay, something like that. If I have a pole here, it's very much in the center, but that's maybe not so bad. It's not going to be the strongest line in the painting. Mind you, if I put one here, then we have one on either side. I am not too crazy about that idea. I'm not too crazy about that idea. Let me not do that. We'll just stick with something here. Keep it crooked. maybe something behind the shed. Maybe something here. Maybe something here. Maybe something like that. Do I need one on the right? Notice that we're foreshortening a little bit, so our space between these two is much greater than our space between these. See, we have basically half the space between poles here that we do here. Closer, farther. I think that's more or less okay. Maybe what I should do is... I'm not going to go into it today. I don't know if it's going to be knife or brush. I usually don't know until I actually sit down to start. But right now I'm thinking we'll do a knife painting here. Well, let me just get a bit of dark paint on. I'm not too worried about... I'm not going to go over all the lines. This is going to be just... I think... Let me scoop up some raw umber. A little bit of ultramarine blue. And seeing as this is all going to be fairly dark within this band, well, sorry, within this band, I don't mind dumping some dark paint in there. So, ultramarine blue and raw umber, I mean, you know, for all intents and purposes, it pretty much looks black, doesn't it? Okay, that's too much terps. I would like it a little more opaque than that. I know these lines look very clumsy right now. It's okay. Everything will look clumsy to begin with. There. It's all in shadow. I like the idea of a peak roof, the top of a peaked roof showing up there. I like my line here, that's okay. I'll tidy up my lines on the next go around. I'm still not sure I want something right there. It would be fine just to run power on an old country road and it just ends here. Nothing wrong with that. Whoops. Let's put this in. Just because there are no consequences to putting it in, I can rub it out when the time comes if I don't like it. But for the moment, we'll leave that there. Now I have sort of a... I'm trying to keep some movement in this thing. Just because it's sort of a field on the edge of a rise doesn't mean it has to be boring. I don't know. Maybe that's okay. Oh, what do we think here? I don't like the left-hand side of the roof being higher than the right-hand side. I had the face of I had the shed sitting like this. I think I want to move it sitting like this. That's the way I have it on the smaller panel, and I think that's the way I would prefer to have it. Yeah, that's better. Yeah. There. Just how about just a couple of bumps in that horizon? That horizon right there. Do away with that. And seeing as we're doing away with that, you know, I think we'll do away with that one, top of that one. This will just be a little bump. Okay, all right. Roughly, that's okay. Now, I'm going to exaggerate the width of these posts because if I go in with a knife or a brush, it easily happens that I make them too skinny. And I like things a little bit muscular, certainly to start with. Okay, not much there, but it is a start. It is a start, and it's going to be something along these lines. I especially love the colors in the sky. I have some cobalt blue, some alizarin crimson, some yellow ochre. I think I've even touched a little bit of cad yellow pale and cad yellow medium in the sky. We can be soft, you know, we can make this one soft and smooth getting towards evening. And I could smear it a little bit with soft edges with a brush, or I could take a knife and put some real power into it and make a very strong sunset. We shall see. Anyway guys, that's it for the moment. I don't want to get into this stuff while it's wet. See you soon.